Ladies and gentlemen, here's the motherfucking tea.
Hey everybody, we're back for another week of My Hero Academia reviews. I'm
That
your boy Scott.
motherfucking tea.
Yes, more of the motherfucking tea. I'm Scott. That's a Grant.
Hi.
Am I pointing in the right? Yeah, I am. Cool. And that's Alani.
Hi, I'm Lanny. I got people like to point out I got long hair.
You know, you do have long hair.
I do.
I want to get a haircut today. In fact,
Oh, really?
I would like to.
I might eventually. I'm trying out the Viking look. See how because I know once I get this cut, I'm never getting it like this again.
This long. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fair. Live it while you got it.
Yeah.
Man, I honestly don't want you to cut your hair. It's just such a good look. The long hair works so well.
I look like chubby Jesus.
Fucking you rock
Is that
chubby
Californiacus?
Jesus, okay? You're Bearzus. That I don't that
Bear
is
Zeus.
Bearzus. You know what? Actually, that works better. You're Bearzus.
It's like Grizzly Adams, but different. Oh,
So before we get started, I almost want to touch. Do we want to
go ahead and do it. I know you want to talk about it.
Oh
I'm
my
not-
God.
I don't. I
Drinks
feel
in the chat
I know,
for
I know
those.
nothing you talk about. I don't know why I'm stuttering.
So there's a thing that's been happening on Twitter lately because of a line in the latest chapter. I'm not going to spoil anything other than at one point Mineta tells another character who is male that he has fallen for him. This is in the official Shonen Jump translation.
Is that meant to be more along the lines of an admiration, like, "Oh, dude, you're so funny"?
So that was the part of the discourse for the last 24 hours. In English, that phrase "fallen for you" that is usually it almost always has a romantic inclination. Almost always.
right.
That would be
Here-
my impression.
Yeah. In this moment, though, it is meant to be more of an admiration thing, more of an over dramatization of what he's trying to say. And even in the Japanese version, the word horeta, which he uses, also has that sort of inclination. But again, it's not supposed to be actually romantic.
I wonder if it's kind of along the lines of how someone would say, like, you know, how a straight person would say, like, dude, I could kiss you, like when they do something cool, where it's like, I'm not actually attracted or in love with you, but I'm so overwhelmed with emotion that could easily be the mistake that, like, maybe that's what they're going for. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And then next chapter he throws out some line like, "Man, I really want to gobble your shaft," and it's like, okay, how do you translate that one? It's a bit
okay.
tougher.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's been a lot of discourse over the last 24 hours. Some people thought that I contributed to it. I only brought up hey, that's
God,
a little
Scott,
interesting.
can't believe you started all this.
But yeah, generally, I was kind of waiting for the Japanese native speakers and readers and some of the more well-versed people with the
To
language.
give context.
And they did, and generally, a lot of the people, a lot of the Japanese readers, did not read it as romantic. They read it as exactly, I think, as it was meant to be written and read. Unfortunately, due to the translation being a little skewed more in one direction and cultural differences, yeah, a lot of people were like, "Wait a second, is Mineta bi now or some shit?" So
That would be such a fun, weird twist to his character. Like, no, he is overcompensating really hard about his closeted nature.
I personally,
Or he just hides it really well so that the other guys don't hide when they're in the locker room or something.
I think that would be I think that actually would be really funny. I think that would be super funny if that were actually the case. If not only because but then again, I don't think Horikoshi has any intentions of actually diving into the character in that way. So
No.
it's a whole thing. But yeah, long story short, there's the tea regarding the stuff that's been happening lately. I wanted to get out of the way because it has literally been at the very top of the My Hero discourse for the last 24 hours. So I felt like I couldn't not talk about it and just okay.
Speaking of the discourse, you mentioned this earlier, but are we taking another week off next week?
Yes,
For, there not being an episode?
As it
The
turns out.
Olympics.
Is it because
Is that what it is? Is that
I
because
mean, that's what I saw
happened
someone
at
say in
closing,
chat.
or-
I don't know if it's a fact.
It would make sense to me. I mean, I know
it lines
Japan
up.
has different holidays and stuff like that we don't celebrate, so it could be something like that as well. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently no episode next week. which is too bad. I'm eager to get to the next episode. The next episode's got some cool stuff, but yeah, this we won't have one next week. And also we've already talked about the thing that we're still waiting to get to. I won't talk about it at all here. It's being put off another week.
They're running even shorter and shorter on episodes now to like really cover this stuff. You made it sound like there's really a lot to it. Like there's a dense chunk of stuff to pack in there.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, but everything points to it happening this season. So who knows?
We'll see, I guess. I don't know, but this episode, I thought it was fine.
Are we talking about this week's episode?
Yeah, we can talk about this week's episode,
Okay.
The Unforgiven.
Never seen that movie.
A great Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah, I recommend it if you like westerns at all. It's good. As for the episode, it's also good.
Yes. I actually, so as frustrated as I've been with the changes that they've made with the story, like in terms of where things are, I actually do really like this part of the story, like a lot. I definitely dig Natsu being like it's a little coincidental. I will say, God, wow, I can't believe that at this very moment, one of the people that Endeavor caught has gotten out and is attacking his family. Wow.
Right in the middle of all this.
Yeah, it also feels like very impromptu. Like if it wasn't so heavily connected to his backstory, this could have been filler. Like this guy just kind of appears, shows up, and all of a sudden he's got his kid. And this is something that you'd kind of expect in Naruto filler if it wasn't so like heavily connected to the actual character drama. But
yeah,
it happened and it was all right. But it also like made me think back once again to that Selkie episode, thinking, okay, so we got this dude with the drugs and they're doing the fight. Why couldn't they have done that with the girls again? I don't know.
Yeah, I actually when we saw this guy and when he was like kind of like, we have a past, you and me, and like they did like a real quick flashback to establish it. I was like, that episode of Selkie, like you could have like hinted at this or like dropped this dude in there, like, you know, or like given us a little fillery, like something with him to kind of like set this up somewhere, because it feels like it comes out of nowhere. But I don't know. Also, I feel like this guy kind of just exists to represent Natsu's bad feelings about his dad, because it's just sort of this like, because even when he starts forgiving him, the what's his name ending starts freaking out, just being like, you're not who I want you to be, because like Natsu's kind of like, I want you to be this one-dimensional guy I hate. And so it's like, you know, they parallel each other, so trying to give this guy a backstory might have been hard.
You bring up an incredibly cogent point, though, the fact that you could have actually added to this episode with that by still having that whole, you know, the drug subplot of the Selkie episode, which is supposed to tie into the movie. You could have tied that in with like, you know, maybe this guy, the reason he had those drugs is because he's, you know, met somebody that's going to be in the movie, and it wouldn't have hurt anything in the canon, although maybe it would. Maybe this guy will show up later in some
what we don't realize is this guy is
actually
deeply involved in future plots, and giving him any more backstory will ruin it.
Okay, there's one thing I really got to ask about this particular character, though. His quirk is literally that he can control the white lines on the road. Yes, what is his actual quirk? Because it can't be that.
Can he control white paint? Is that his thing?
I'm assuming what he does? I'm assuming that it must have something to do with the materials that go into that particular paint that they put on the road. Because otherwise, like, there are some very unique quirks in this series, but they're usually tied to something that, like, from an almost evolutionary point of view, like, oh, okay, so it's
this guy's descended from traffic cops.
Yeah, there
he knows how to adjust the lines.
I need to merge, but this lane ends, or does it?
Not anymore.
But yeah, so I just, it's a weird fucking quirk. It is like. Somebody just pointed out it's more like a JoJo stand type of quirk.
Yeah. When I was watching the episode preview, I'm like, oh, this guy uses that same sort of restrictor tape material that Aizawa uses. Interesting. I wonder what his quirk is. Oh, it's just that he controls road paint.
It wasn't until they mentioned it was paint and like lines on the road. I thought he was shooting the arrows like that one demon in Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, he can like do like propulsion with arrows or something. Nope.
At first, I thought he was like he just had control over that same tape, and then it was just using it on the road to hide it, and then pulling it out.
Okay.
Like, which was I thought that was like really cool at first. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. He's like laying down this tape and then using it as as camouflage. But no, as it turns out, he literally just controls
Yeah,
the lines on the road.
He got bitten by a radioactive paint truck or something, and now he has a quirk. And bear in mind, this is also him at his like, uber most,
Yeah,
power.
he's been injected with the whatever the
as
power
we
drug.
as we see though, that does make him insanely dangerous. Like he was able to throw
throwing
cars.
cars,
Yeah.
It did, but at the same time, did it really? Because I mean, we know that Bakugo, Todoroki, and Midoriya are the three of that class. But he was taken out like bam as soon as they got past him.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
he
but-
had 7 years in prison just sitting around. He probably wasn't in peak physical and mental shape.
Yeah, don't
So
get me
he-
wrong. This guy's no overhaul. Like,
yeah, but remember, it isn't just a matter of his power; it's also a matter of his skill. This guy is not like a fucking
He's
top
not a
tier.
trained villain.
Yeah, he's not a top tier villain who's got all the talent and skills. He's just got insane power combined with his ability. But that doesn't that makes him a threat for maybe a single hero for a moment. But once they got him down, yeah, it was easy enough to pin him. You had 4 heroes,
Yeah.
3 of which are the best at UA current in their class anyway. So yeah, no, he was always going to be easy enough to take down. The bigger problem was not so.
yeah, it's just the fact that he his whole goal is that he wanted Endeavor to kill him. That was his motivation in this. Like, I just wanted to
suicide by
cop.
cop.
Yeah,
But we got
suicide by super cop. And he thought, okay, I'm gonna threaten his kid. I'm gonna, maybe even kill his kid. Maybe that'll get him to do it. I never felt like Natsu was in actual danger. Like,
Obviously he wasn't. It's plot armor.
of course, he has plot armor. But if anybody was going to kill a member of Endeavor's family, it wasn't going to be this no-name jobber.
It was going to be Endeavor, goddammit.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna kill my kids, it's me. But yeah, like it felt like it got resolved really quick. We got some really cool shots and some pretty decent action. Although I will say a lot of the stuff that happened even like way earlier in the season with like the Class A versus Class B stuff had
Oh yeah,
way more time and effort and put into it.
visual shine.
And
Yeah.
it did feel a little weird that after the messaging of Endeavor saying like, yeah, no, you got to keep practicing until you can do these things that you are currently working on before you focus on the next thing. And then Midoriya all of a sudden just like, black whips.
Well,
It's essentially the same thing, right? I guess so.
yeah.
Like that does feel a little unearned, and honestly, it's this thing where like I appreciate it. We don't need 3 episodes of him being like, wait, if I think harder, my ropes get tighter or whatever. But
what I thought was going to happen there was like, okay, I need to be able to focus in this and this. And he was going to use the air, his air guns to actually project himself like Gran Torino and grab the people out of the cars before they crashed. That's what I thought was going to happen before he Deus Ex
just
Black Whippy.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a just kind of, and guess what? He can use this power like at least adequately now. Check it out. And it just felt like there could have been some build up to that, but also I guess that's what makes it a surprise.
Yeah. It just felt like an unearned surprise, like oh, okay, I guess. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't feel so unearned when there's so much more time in between things.
Yeah. I think they.
You know what? Yeah, if we say dipped out for an arc and came back or something like that to this between our class fight and this, maybe it would have felt like something happened.
Yeah.
Because even Endeavor was like, wow, they've improved so much in only 1 week. I'm like, 1 week?
I mean,
It is a week.
To be fair, it would have been a week one way or the other.
Yeah, but at least being able to see them train, like, because to me, I felt like this was day 2. This felt like day 2 to me for some reason.
Yeah, with the pacing.
Maybe 3.
And honestly, the pacing of the manga did not help this incredibly when it came to like the fact that where Deku starts at the beginning of joining Endeavor's agency versus now. So it's not helped incredibly, but it is better.
Yeah. But we did get to see them fulfill their duty of the internship.
Yes.
I love Bakugo's like smug. Ha! So once in a winter, right? We did it, didn't we? Check it out. Don't try and hide it. He's like, yeah, no, you did a great job. Thanks.
And he gives him a hug. It's like, stop it.
Old man smell.
Like, thank you for saving my son. Without you, this would not have worked out. You did it.
I gotta. Well, I was just gonna say, fucking. I love Bakugo's actor so fucking much. Like the way that he says "number one." I'm like, fucking, you fucking little piece of shit.
We're also skipping over. I'm going to consider him like basically Endeavor's Alfred, his butler, who's trying to give her around and just says, "What are you doing with punks like this? Zounds!"
Oh yeah, that guy too. Yeah, no, he was great. I love anybody who will snap back against Bakugo. I love.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that translation to K? Sounds.
It's because that K is very like older Japanese male. Like it's not something people use in modern day Japan.
My Jove.
And so Zounds was a really fucking weird way to translate that. I feel like they just kind of got stuck on that for a moment and were like, okay, I got nothing. Just put in like.
I wonder how they're going to translate that into English. Is he just gonna go ah?
He might just scream Zounds. Willikers. By golly.
But yeah.
Ho.
I love that guy. That guy's cool.
Golly.
That guy's the great. Also, oh man, the scene where he launches the fucking launches the costumes. That's sick. Also,
got these.
I love the fact that he's got a little button that launches fucking cachet cases out of the fucking. It's such a niche thing to have in your car, but I guess all these fucking superheroes are gonna have. I mean, cachet launchers.
We saw Endeavor sitting in the front seat in his like casual attire, and then he jumps out and he's in his full regalia. When he just Superman transforms, like, bah!
He's got that like layer of superhero costume paint that just ejects through. It's just like when he comes out, he's in a suit.
And then he has like super metal back. I kind of wanted to see like casual flame armor Endeavor, like see what he looks like when he just has to turn it on in public, you know?
Maybe he's wearing it under his clothes, and when he ignited it, just burned the rest of his clothes away.
That actually did happen in one of the previous episodes. Literally.
He's got those magician things that burn real fast.
But he has like these metal plates that kind of stick off his back. Maybe they expand when heated.
It's one of those things where, you know, it's like Clark Kent when he puts on his when he puts on his glasses. It's just you don't see it when he's wearing clothes, but it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always wearing incredibly bulky clothes, if you've noticed. Like almost always.
He pretends he's got broad shoulders. Endeavor's really a scrawny guy.
Yeah, little do you know, we've been fan casting in our head this whole time, thinking about who played Endeavor. Little did we know, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, just a tiny man.
But so what else is there in this episode that's really notable?
It's mostly the family drama. I mean, the action part of the episode gets resolved relatively quickly and with very little fanfare, except for Bakugo's, being Bakugo.
Yeah.
I do love. Psycheronia pointed out there. I do love that he asked for the recipe for the tofu. Like, teach me how to make that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that
my sister will text me.
Yeah, I love the fact that he loves spicy food. That's
fitting.
It's a cute little quirk.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Oh, that makes sense because spicy food makes you sweat.
Oh shit! It does though.
So it makes
Give
his
me
power
that extra
better.
Sweaty spice.
Yeah. It is sort of interesting that Bakugo's number one enemy is the extreme cold. Like if he were in a very cold place, he would instantly be in a
Takes me a while to warm up in winter.
Yeah, cold and dry is very bad for him.
We didn't really talk about it, but oh shoot, I had it in my mind and then it left. Well, we got to see Bakugo like using his kind of focus shot to do extra speed. Like we really did touch on all of the stuff that Endeavor mentioned. Like these are the things you kids need to work on. And we got to see him using that, and Todoroki like insta going from hot to cold and working out all right.
Yeah, and like we kind of addressed earlier, it's less that like, yeah, it's awesome that they're able to do this, but more that like it slightly feels unearned, and when they are showing off that they are doing this, it's like, hey, I did this now, and like it's just done. And yeah, I don't know. For me in shonen anime, I like it best when we see them backed into a corner and they have to pull out this new trick. Granted, this isn't exactly that kind of a case where this is already something they know how to do and they're just trying to do it more casually. I don't know. It just felt, like this. They were basically fighting a jobber this whole time.
Yeah, which they kind of were.
I mean, I'm mostly okay with it happening here because these abilities, like the things that they're doing, are not so incredibly flashy and impressive and paramount to their characters that they didn't exactly require a huge moment like that. I feel like I feel like they didn't need it to be that big or that important.
I think it's more our sense of time just feels constrained here because it's like a week that honestly it like doing really intensive training every day, like that is a good enough time for them to really get a handle on these skills. But we're never kind of presented that. We see them basically work 1 or 2 days and then they go to dinner, and their ride home from dinner is when this happens.
Yeah.
But a week happened there. We just didn't see it.
Yeah, we saw them, like we saw that they had been training. We saw the results on their costumes and stuff, but we never actually saw them training. I mentioned this, I think, the last time we talked about My Hero, but actually seeing Endeavor training them, even if it was only for like 10 minutes in an episode, was kind of nice because it reminded me of Dragon Ball, watching Master Roshi train Krillin and Goku and seeing how these results are actually earned. I think is where I'm left on that one.
I just remembered the thing I wanted to bring up. Bakugo mentions he has a hero name, but he's not going to tell Deku and Todoroki. He's got someone he needs to tell.
Yes.
Who do you think it is? Because I think I know.
It's Best Jeanist, I think. Because they mentioned that in Flashback. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, anything I say, I promise I'm going to...
You know the future.
Yeah, I know the future, but if I ever say anything like this, it is me remembering how I felt exactly when I was reading the manga. I think it's Best Jeanist.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they had actually said that that's who he was talking about at any point, because I know he and Best Jeanist were talking about his hero name, and he's like, when you've got a good one, come tell me.
Yeah.
I figured that's what he was talking about.
I figured that too. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice.
I think that's
we'll wrap around to that, assuming he's not dead. Which
I like that because I feel like we still don't like, even though we saw like little pips of it, it never felt like Bakugo. He might remember the stuff and like respect him, but it never seemed like he liked him or had any sort of relationship with him. So this moment like kind of tells me like it wasn't a one-sided thing of Jeanist recognizing quality and being like, I want to help you. It was a mutual to some degree. Him being like, no, I told him I'd tell him, so I'm gonna do him right.
Yeah,
and that's cute as fuck.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It is. Like I said, even if this season hasn't been the best, and maybe in fact could be the worst season so far, it at the very least has done wonders for Bakugo's character.
I think the season has just been messy. That is like, and I think if you were to binge watch it, it would be way better.
I think that's the case with almost all anime.
This in particular, though.
Yeah. Like there are some anime that I think I could watch week to week. Things that are more episodic and less serial. Things like One Punch Man or something. I can handle watching something like that week to week. Serialized shonen, though, way better binged in my opinion. There's something else I was thinking about. What was it?
I personally really liked the moment where Endeavor says, I wanted to save you, but I thought if I did, you'd like never forgive me.
you'd never talk to me
Yeah,
again.
you'd never talk to me again.
I was just gonna watch you get smeared by that train. I think that would have been best for you.
Well,
I'd rather you die having an inch of respect for me than live with none.
because it's in that moment I was wondering like, wait, why would he say that? But then it's like, oh right, if he goes out of his way to save him, it's almost like, oh, I'm doing this for you to forgive me. But like, and that's such a interesting fucked up dynamic, and it's one you understand when it's like laid out, like, oh yeah, I guess you would feel sort of immediately emotionally conflicted about what you would want to do in that moment. And then I do love the fact that Bakugo is like, nah, fuck that, I got it, we're good, you don't have to worry about shit.
It was cool that Bakugo was the one that got to him.
I mean, he would. I feel like he is the most motivated of our three. Like he is usually the one who's like, no, I'll figure out how to do this as quick as possible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he wanted to beat Endeavor. That was his only goal. You know, save people by winning, win by saving people.
Yeah.
I remember what I was thinking about. Because the one thing that kind of stuck in my craw after watching this and saying like, oh yeah, they were all heroes in this situation. It left me with less of a fuck yeah feeling than we had when, Bakugo and Todoroki stopped the water muggers. Because that scene, after watching, I'm like, it's so cool. And after watching this scene, I'm like, that was pretty neat.
I mean, I feel like that's because that scene, when it was presented, really kind of felt like, oh shit, now they're all officially heroes. That's awesome. But this scene was like, oh hey, they've improved their abilities. I guess that's good, but it's like it's not quite as monumental and momentous as they're all heroes professionally now.
But the thing is, like, the stakes on this one was the one where they actually beat Endeavor to the punch, and you don't feel that. Like, that was the goal that they set, and then they just got it.
It's also a little hollow, I won't lie, because like, yes, they beat Endeavor, but purely because he was
froze.
Yeah, because of a huge anomaly in this one event that would have slowed him down happened to be there. And like, ultimately, yes, they stepped up where he fell down, and that is good and important and matters. But it's like the goal from the outset is kind of like, I want you to be better than me at my best once. And that still hasn't happened, but it counts because that was not exactly what he said.
I will say this: there's no way Endeavor was going to save his son, save the people in the cars, and take down. Well, actually, maybe the first and third he could have done alone. But it seemed pretty obvious that he did need their help at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think he could have pulled some bullshit heat powers out of his ass to like save the people in the cars too. Like, I superheated the ground to make the air push up so that the cars would land slowly or something.
I was gonna say I superheated the ground so the cars just kind of had a cushy melty thing to drop
or
into
that
instead of impact. But yeah, either way.
Yeah, I softened the asphalt to limit the damage.
Yeah. But I do think it's pretty cool to watch them. Like, you're right though, it doesn't quite hit as hard as I think it was supposed to.
Yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily too much of a problem though, because I feel like they really want the emotional impact of like Endeavor and Natsu here, and like this part is really cool and neat, but it's okay if it's not the flashiest, most like moment of the episode, because what you want to save that emotional like punch for is Endeavor and Natsu kind of finally seeing eye to eye for the first time in 7 years.
Yeah. I don't want to seem too negative. Obviously, I have critiques on the episode, but I did overall enjoy it. And we did get, like I said, the majority of this episode was basically the family drama. And we got that post-credit scene where he's like, I want to keep you guys safe and I want you to be happy. So I'm just going to have somebody build a new house for you so you and your mom could go live together and won't get attacked directly out our front door by people coming to hunt me down.
I do think that's that whole scene works really well. And Endeavor saying, I don't need forgiveness, I need to atone, is also, again, a very important line. Kids are watching this. That's why it kind of really matters to me that they really kind of hammer home the message of when you've done something horrible, maybe even unforgivable, you don't try and find forgiveness, you try to make it right. And that's good. I think that is a great message to send, and it fits very well for a story about a serial abuser.
Have they? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Or no, just getting better.
Have they gone into detail on what happened to the brother Toya? Like they keep saying like it's as if he killed him, but they like is he dead? Did like I mean they clearly have like the funeral stuff.
He's dead. It's just Endeavor's. They haven't gone into why Endeavor might as well have killed him. They saying might as well have killed him because Endeavor like it is implied that Endeavor didn't actually do the act that killed him.
Yeah,
but his actions led to Toya's death.
His inaction or something like didn't save him or something kind of thing is what I'm guessing. But I just didn't know if they had ever clarified or if there had been a flashback that I didn't notice or see. Because it seems like now everyone's on the same page of like, it's like he killed our brother. And I just didn't think they explained it.
It's honestly probably something along the lines of Endeavor did something to upset him because he's Endeavor. And he like, ran off sad, just like needed time to clear his head and either a car accident or some villain or something.
I see.
Yeah, that's probably somewhere along those lines. Or I don't know. Dobby seems to have some connection with Endeavor. Maybe Dobby killed him.
But
yeah, it seems like there's just like kind of more stuff there. And I was curious if I had missed it or something.
Just to clarify the phrasing, really. But is there anything else? I feel like there actually was a lot to talk about in this episode, but also not.
It's not that I didn't like this episode in particular, but I feel like the meat of this episode felt like it could have been the second half of the last episode.
Yeah.
Because it like really feels like our first half of this episode is sort of like we're still kind of at dinner, but we've talked about everything. Maybe we should leave. And then it's just like, all right, episode cut. There's a villain here.
You're absolutely right.
These last two episodes, 17 and 18, were definitely meant to be in tandem because they're telling one story. And, the story isn't exactly resolved, but we have somewhat of a resolution by the end of it when it comes to Natsu.
Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of Natsu, I do also want to bring up. I liked him being like, "I'm not a good person. I don't want to forgive you." Like, and that makes me bad. And Endeavor kind of being like, "Well, no, you showed up to dinner when you didn't want to because it would make your sister happy, and that's something a good person would do. So you don't have to forgive me. Like, that doesn't make you a bad person."
Yeah. Which is also a good message.
Yeah.
You don't have to forgive the people that hurt you.
No, that is actually important. Like there's something to be said about holding on to hatred where it only the whole message of hatred is a poison that kills you, not the other person. But also you don't have to forgive them. You don't letting go of your hatred and those negative feelings is not the same as forgiving another person. So
I think we've all had those people in our lives who have hurt us that, for a while we carried something in our gut. But I don't know. For me, I always find it easier just to let the past be the past and just move on as best I can. I don't know. It's one of those hard lessons in life to pull from.
Yeah, right.
Very easy to relate to.
One of those much easier said than done type lessons.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you guys at home think? Who hurt you, and have you forgiven them?
Tell us all about it here in the therapy.
Yeah, tell us your past trauma and tell us who exactly was involved.
And tell us all your deepest fears and your account numbers.
But yeah, what did you guys think of the episode? Do you have good hope for the, I'm guessing, League of Villains arc that will I'm guessing this arc has something to do with the destruction of that whole city. That does feel like flashing back to.
It feels like a very major thing that they just kind of went, this happened and was important, but don't worry about it right now. We went off to do this thing. Because that is like literally how that's introduced, and it feels so out of place and odd, and we're clearly skipping something here. Don't think about it.
I'd watch an arc of Shigaraki destroying a city. I'm down for that.
I would too.
I'm very interested to see where we go from here. I'm sad that we have to take a week off from it, but hey, if anybody understands pushing things back, it's us. It's
But yeah. So yeah, don't expect this next week. But completely tangentially related. Starting tomorrow, I believe, Nick and I, we're doing a playthrough of Miles Morales, and it's going to start showing up on the gaming channel, so you can watch that there.
get ready for Kaiser's spider rust.
Yes. Oh, I'm so rusty. I was also like super out of it during the recording session, so a couple of those episodes I'm going to be like a little like low key. So apologies about my low energy.
Your
And
friendly neighborhood Kaiser man can't save without his coffee.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And another quick update. There won't be a Talkcast Pod Show this week because we want to cover Suicide Squad next week. So
Yes.
we'll be talking about that next Wednesday. This Wednesday, Kaiser and I are just going to record some more Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please make sure to take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, be good, get vaccinated, and we'll talk to you guys later. Everyone, stay safe.